September 17th, 2025. Welcome back to the Krishnamurti podcast with Samyogi. This is episode 53. In today's episode, we will look at the talk that we listened to, or the part of the talk that we listened to in the last episode. And we'll begin with that talk again and try to understand what Krishnamurti is saying. So I'll pause and I'll explain as required. So Krishnamurti says, what gives true discernment is action without choice. If action is based on achievement, then that action has no significance. That action is of time and therefore creates conflict. Whereas if there is action not from a reward, not from a punishment, not from fear, then action itself is inherently true and therefore enduring. So why does he say that if action is based on achievement, then that action has no significance? So this is the fourth talk at Oman in the Netherlands, delivered on July 30, 1933. And earlier in this talk, Krishnamurti has already said this, and this has been covered in episode 43, that he says, his words are, to understand that living reality, the mind must be wholly free of this idea of achievement, because achievement involves time. That which you are going to gain implies a future and a present and a past. A mind and a heart that is caught up in time cannot understand that endless becoming. So achievement, gain, conquering and success, truth as a reward for righteous action, implies an effort, indicates that you must make a tremendous volition, develop a will, character in order to attain, in order to be rewarded for your effort. So this is what he has said. So this explains why if action is based on achievement, then that action has no significance. That action is of time, as we discussed, and therefore creates conflict. Whereas if there is action not from a reward, not from a punishment, not from fear, then action itself is inherently true and therefore enduring. Krishnamurti further says, what destroys action in its true significance is want, is this continual craving which creates loneliness. Where there is want, one is conscious of loneliness, emptiness, a void, and immediately one wants something to fill that. So one goes on accumulating more and more, and the emptiness is still there. The cause of loneliness is want, because wherever there is want, there is no discernment. Want blinds and cripples the mind and heart from true understanding. Okay, so here Krishnamurti is explaining why loneliness is there in everybody. It is this continual craving for more and more, which is never satiated. It is like a demon. The more you feed it, the more it wants. So what you do is you buy more and more stuff, fill your house with material goods, and if one house is full, then you buy another house and fill that up also. And this emptiness is still there. And what man or woman does is they run after material stuff, prestige, power, position in society, the rat race. And in that process they live and they die. So is that action? Is that completeness of action? That is all Krishnamurti is asking. He is asking, he mentioned mind and heart, and in prior discourses or discussions we have discussed, and Krishnamurti has said to engage both mind and heart, both intellectually and emotionally, to a task at hand, to meet life as it is bubbling right now in the ever present, and you will have completeness of action provided there are no barriers. Barriers like security or insecurity, authority of a teacher or a master or what have you. Fear is a barrier. It prevents you from taking action wholeheartedly, because fear leads to anxiety and things like that. Then the other barriers that we have discussed, that Krishnamurti talked about, which are hindrances or barriers to complete action, are things like prejudice, tradition, and he mentioned also postponement. If you postpone something again and again, you are not indulging in action, you are postponing action. It is incomplete action. It is not fullness of life, as we have seen in the podcast on the fourth talk in Alpino, Italy, which preceded these 12 talks in Oman, the Netherlands, and we are again on the fourth talk in Oman. So let's see what Krishnamurti says next. The cause of loneliness is want, because wherever there is want, there is no discernment. Want blinds and cripples the mind and heart from true understanding. You can only want, crave, when the mind is burdened with false values. So let me stop here and reiterate for a minute what Krishnamurti means by false values. What does he mean by values? These values are standards, morality, etc., which the society sets for you, and as long as you listen to the dictates of society where the so-called morality is immorality, you develop a set of false values according to which you act, which actually limit you. I mean, if society says do this, don't do that, and you always do this, don't do that, then you are limited by that. That's all Krishnamurti is saying. He doesn't mean you should go and start beating people up. It's not that. So you have to reflect on this and listen to the prior podcast also if required. The cause of loneliness is want, because wherever there is want, there is no discernment. Want blinds and cripples the mind and heart from true understanding. You can only want, crave, when the mind is burdened with false values. He says next, the moment you understand a thing wholly, completely, in all its significance, there is no more want. You are part of it, whether the understanding is of an experience or a thing or an idea or an emotion. So you get into it and you are part of it and you understand it. So wanting perverts judgment through discernment, which is the cause of loneliness. So you have to reflect on what Krishnamurti has said here again and again to understand its full significance, so that it unfolds in finite action within you. Completeness of action, complete action, fullness of life. Let's listen to what K says next, because we covered a lot of ground yesterday and we are now slowly going through that part of the talk and understanding what Krishnamurti has said. So Krishnamurti says, now I am going to explain something which I hope will make what I am saying clear. Most people agree mentally. Mentally you have followed. If you have followed what I have said the last 3 days, you will have followed that where there is want, there is a lack of discernment. You will agree intellectually, but emotionally you are still wanting, and hence there is conflict. The mind imposes itself on the emotions that want, and hence the continual battle, the strain of what you call spirituality, the trying to force together the two elements that are warring with each other. So the mind is convinced of the futility of comfort or of want. Intellectually it is assured of its falseness. Sensationally it still wants it. It is seeking sedulously and is unconsciously absorbed with it. Then what do? There it is. There are two elements in you. One that says no comfort, no security, no want, that intellectually, mentally sees the fallacy of it, and emotionally all the time holding, as is the case with love, what you call love, as a husband, a wife, a lover, which is a possessive thing. But intellectually you despise what you are doing. So in this love example he flips it, but he took the example before of things that the mind says are kind of using spirituality. The mind says these are things that one should not do. So his words again are, hence the continual battle, the strain of what you call spirituality, and trying to force together these two elements that are warring with each other. So what he is basically saying is the mind and heart are at war. It's a split personality. The mind is convinced of the futility of comfort or of want. Intellectually, it is assured of its falseness. Mentally, intellectually, spiritually, you can say. But sensationally, it still wants comfort. It still wants security. Then what do? Or if you take the case of love, he said, emotionally, so when he says emotionally, emotion, sensation, sentiment, these are all part of emotionally. When he says it is the heart. Intellectually, when Krishnamurti says intellectually, it is the mind. And as we have listened to many dialogues or many episodes, the engagement of both mind and heart to the task at hand, to action that one is doing, is what makes it click, says Krishnamurti. So here his words are, as is the case with love. He says, there it is. There are two elements in you. One that says no comfort, no security, no want. That intellectually, mentally sees the fallacy of it, and emotionally all the time holding that to be dear. Then he gives the example of love. As is the case with love, what you call love. So this is emotional, with your heart. As a husband, a wife, a lover, which is a possessive thing. So emotionally you want to possess him, he wants to possess you. But intellectually you despise what you are doing. You may despise because it is for your own sake that you love someone else, says the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is actually an Indian philosophy where they go on harping for a while. A husband is explaining to his sage wife, hey, it is for the sake of the husband that the wife loves the husband, not for, or rather, it is for her sake that the wife loves the husband, not for the husband's sake. It is for his sake, his own sake, that the husband loves the wife and not for her sake, and things like that. So you have to reflect on all this, and we bring this episode to an end right here, and we shall discuss the next part of the talk in the next episode. And if you like what you are listening to, and these thoughts are radical, but they are life-giving, and they will set you up correctly if you understand Krishnamurti. I say to my friends and family, he is the gold standard in religion. And I have blogged also about some prior episodes at samrockcafe.wordpress.com and at samyogi.substack.com, and you could look it up on the internet if you have time. Thank you. You have a wonderful day.